In the previous video, at the end, we introduced this idea of the standard form of a quadratic expression. It was the format of a quadratic expression that showed up in the definition of the word quadratic. But there are actually 3 accepted ways to write a quadratic expression. There's standard form, there's factored form, and there's vertex form. And as we go through chapter 10, we will be looking and comparing all of the advantages and disadvantages of having a quadratic expression in each of these different formats. Okay, now standard form, as you may recall from yesterday's video, standard form is a quadratic in the format a times x squared plus b times x plus c. So, one of the main characteristics of this is that everything is multiplied out. And all the like terms have been combined. Remember that a and b and c stand for numbers. Now, factored form is the format that you get when you take your quadratic expression and completely factor it out. And it looks like this. Some number a out in front, x minus some number, which I'll call r1, in parenthesis, multiplied by x minus some other number, in parenthesis. And the main feature of this is that everything is factored. And we have no plus or minus signs outside of parentheses. So I'm going to make a note that this minus specifically means subtraction here, not just make the number negative. Now finally, we have another format which is called vertex form. And this format looks like a number in front, and then x minus a number squared, and I'll call that number xv, and then some number added outside. And the characteristic of this, there's only one x, which is inside a squared quantity. And let me make a note that in these two expressions, I'm using a and r1 and r2 to represent numbers. And here in vertex form, a, xv, and yv are numbers. And we'll see in just a minute, we'll see over the next couple of days why we use this notation r1 and r2, why we use this notation xv and yv, rather than some more generic sounding letters like b or c. So let's practice identifying the format in which a quadratic expression is written. Determine the form, or potentially the forms, of each of the following quadratic expressions. In the first one, we have 2 times x squared minus x plus 1. Now in this expression, everything has been multiplied out. There are no more products that we could calculate to simplify this expression, which is the characteristic of standard form. In standard form expressions, everything is multiplied out. So this first expression is in standard form. Why? Because everything is multiplied out. let's have a look at this second expression. Here we have 3x minus 2 quantity squared, take away 1. So we have 3x with a number inside of a squared quantity, and then on the outside, take away 1. Let's see which of those formats this is written in. Well, it definitely can't be in standard form, because if I look at this expression, I could still do some work to simplify this by multiplying x plus 2. It definitely can't be in factored form, because in factored form there is no addition or subtraction happening outside of the parenthesis. But in this expression, I'm subtracting 1 outside of the parenthesis. This expression is in vertex form, where we have only one copy of x, which is here inside of a squared quantity. So this is in vertex form. Okay, what about this expression on the bottom left? 2 times the quantity x minus 1 times the quantity x plus 4. This expression is in factored form because it's been completely factored. What about this on the right-hand side, on the upper right? 2 times x squared plus 1. Now, looking at this expression, there would be nothing else that I could do in terms of multiplying things out to simplify that expression any further. So because of that, this expression is in standard form. But at the same time, we only see one instance of x in this expression, and that one x is being squared. It's inside of a squared quantity. So this expression is not just in standard form, it's also in vertex form. It is possible for an expression to be in two different forms at the same time. Let's have a look at 3x squared. In 3x squared, well, on the one hand, there is no more work that I can do to multiply this out. It's completely been multiplied. So as a result, this is in standard form. But at the same time, we don't have any x's which are outside of squared quantities. The only x that we have is underneath this square here. So as a result, this is also in vertex form. But notice as well that we have 3 times x, and there are no addition or subtractions happening outside of these parentheses. So because of that, this is also in factored form. Okay, and finally, let's have a look at this one at the bottom. Now, there is something that we could do in order to multiply this out and simplify it, so it's not in standard form. There are 2 x's in this expression, so it's definitely not in vertex form. But this expression has been completely factored, so this is in factored form. All right, that's how we classify the different forms of a quadratic expression.